Alrighty, good morning, everybody. It is Friday, October 27, 2023. I'm going to do a very quick review and pre-market here because I have to get going this morning. We'll scroll back here to yesterday. Take a look what we were talking about. What we had was basically our key insights and plans of action. We had our targets to the upside and the downside in some areas we wanted to see the bulls or the bears break for specific biases that we had, and again, just some targets to the upside and the downside if we did get breaks through some of our key contention levels here. Some of the points that we talked about, we had a bullish move fail. The whole push from October, the beginning of October, failed over. In the overnight session, we found support at the major retrace, 4173, which we were watching for many days. It makes sense for the market to bounce from a major 50% retrace area, so that was a possibility. They did have a more difficult task, the bulls, because we continued to sell off, and there were arguments to be made for the bulls in the high time frames from the lows. So at some point when we could get up some key levels, maybe we would revisit this higher time frame perspective. And the overnight low had a 1 hour bullish signal, so a bounce would make sense from there. But how strong were the bulls going to be? We want to see them get above the first and the second test before we have any faith in the bulls. So let's look at yesterday. The market opened and pushed right to the low of the day before, our green line here, and breached it by a couple ticks, and then tested it nearly to the tick on the second test and then failed. That was the high of yesterday, the previous daily low. Okay, right to it. Then it came down and held the back end of our support and resistance level here at 41.89.5. I put this on the charts I think a day or two ago, and I want you to just look at the price action here from that level in the overnight session before the market opened yesterday, right to it to the tick, pulled back and then held the 41.73 major retrace, popped through, basically held it to the upside, and then got back down below and held it to the tick again for another greater than 10-point pullback, I believe, 14-point pullback. And then finally, after they pushed through it and pulled back, they basically came right back to the end of it, held it, and then continued to sell off. So we had a really nice stair-step type scenario here yesterday, right off the previous daily low, right off our support and resistance level we added to our charts. Now it did peak through on that third test, right, and then come back and then fail off the back end. So it did go through once, but really nice hold. And then we stair-stepped down and held the back end of our holy orange power level. So if you were trading yesterday, and you notice that we failed from the low of the day before, couldn't even get up into yesterday's price action. We got down below VWAP, down below the holy orange power level. Well, you got a beautiful opportunity to get short off the hopeful, right? Barely any risk off the 200 there that coincided with it. And then it continued to sell off. Great opportunity to short the 200, etc. And then the low of the day. This was probably one of the rare occasions where the low of the day was not one of our roadmap levels, right? So came down, bounced the low of the day here around 41.46, and then some notable little rotations the rest of the day. And notice that the largest bounce of the day off of what became the low of yesterday pushed and then pushed for 40 points, 45 points, and then failed right off our support and resistance level we added to our charts again. So if you look, at least for the last day and a half, if you go back, that support and resistance we added ended up becoming nearly a to the tick rotational spot for you to find trades all through yesterday's chop here. And then again, at the end of the day, they sold off 40, 50 points, popped it 40, 50 points back up, and then failed right off of that level again. So pretty cool stuff. Brings us here into the overnight session. And as you can see right now, this level that you see on the chart, this is the 61.8 retrace of yesterday's sell-off. So if we go to a higher time frame and draw the high of yesterday down to this low we made, you can see in the overnight session the bulls are having a lot of trouble getting through the 61.8 retrace right now of yesterday's price action. Now it's failing back down and holding below VWAP at the moment. And interestingly enough, the market bounced last night, or about a half hour ago, right off our scaffolding level, 60.5, which also was the close of yesterday. So when the market closed yesterday, it closed right where our scaffolding level was to the tick there. And again, in the overnight session, when the bears pulled the market off of that 61.8 retrace and pulled it back down, We got our bullish bounce here this morning coming into the open right off that scaffolding level. Again, we're rejecting off the VWAP. Let's go ahead and do our pre-market. Like I said, this is going to be a very quick situation this morning. So let's go ahead and pull